Okay, camera on. Okay, so, hi everybody. It's Lee here. It's Lee. So, remember how I did a video on about my disability and what I struggle with and that? About how I have autism and a chromosome deletion? Well, I'm pretty sure a person commented and just wanted to know what type of chromosome deletion I have. Well, just so you know, there's many different types of chromosome deletions. Some people can't walk, some people can't talk. So there are some severe chromosome deletions, but so I know that I understand the question because there's so many types out there. Mine, however, is a very rare one. It's called the chromosome 10q deletion, and I don't know what it is, but my dad explained it to my psychiatrist when I first met the one in North Bay. He said it was like a hockey stick, right? If you think of a hockey stick shape, he said the blade of the hockey stick, like this part of the hockey stick, is missing. You know how when you hit the puck and then it breaks off sometimes and you can't hit the puck anymore? Yeah, well, that part of the chromosome is missing. As in like shape of the hockey stick. And that's a chromosome 10q. And apparently it's very rare. They don't know much about it, so if you look it up on Google, you're not going to find much, because I looked it up on Google, where I live and that, and trust me, I can't find a lot. But I do find enough for where they say that it's very rare. And it does cause intellectual disabilities, and it does cause behavioral problems and other types of issues. So, yeah, it makes my life kind of like difficult. I think because of my chromosome 10q, I do have spurts where one moment I'll be happy, next moment I'll be angry or sad or something. Like, basically, I just go into psychosis mode, you know? Because when I get like really happy, I get like hyped up, I get over excited. When I get really sad about a situation, I would just start bawling just out of the blue, like if somebody died, even though it could be just, like a normal sad memory, of something. Instead, I'll start just bawling my eyes out. Like when I become angry or frustrated, I end up yelling and swearing and that. So just my emotions are more intense than the average person because of the chromosome 10q deletion that I have. So I have to be on antipsychotics and that. Like, I'm on Zoloft, Abilify, Latuda. Oh, and I think it also caused an eating disorder too, over time. Because I remember when I was in grade 2, I was sitting in class, and then all of a sudden I felt starving, and then ever since I was in grade 2, I literally go into starvation mode, as in like, it would be like people would think, holy cow, has your mom and dad has your family been starving you for a week? And I would say, well, it feels like it. It honestly feels like I haven't eaten for a week. It feels like I got deprived of food. That's how bad, right? So I have to be on medication for that, you know, right? Because my brain can't stay full. For some reason, it doesn't work right. I think it's because of the chromosome deletion that I have. Hasn't been proven that. I mean, like when you look on Google, it doesn't say that. But like I said, they don't know enough about it. Like the stuff that's on Google, that's all they know about it because it's so rare. Not many people have what I have. Like when I was diagnosed, only one other person was diagnosed with that. Apparently. Right? And probably only a very few across the world have been diagnosed with that. Not many people are. And the ones that are, oh man, I can't imagine their life, you know? Because my life was a living hell at times, you know? So yeah. But yeah, but you know, I have a very loving family. Everybody in my family loves me for who I am. And you know, I mean, I'll be able to have a job. I'm 30 years old and not fully independent yet. Almost 31 now. And so I may think to myself sometimes, oh God, Latha, get a grip on yourself. Like, but it's just that I will get to the point where I am at least semi-independent, you know? I will never want to live on my own because I always need that human companionship. So I'll always need to live with somebody. And I'll always rely on that human companionship because I don't like going out in public just by myself, but I don't want to be, you know, have a worker to be on my backside with my friends 24/7, you know? And so yeah, I am working on that. It's just really, really, really hard right now because my dad doesn't want me to have a worker, as he doesn't want me to pay for one when he's able to take me out. But, you know, I just want my independence. I just want, you know, that time out with somebody, you know? And to have a worker, it's to help me be more independent. So then they can distance themselves and then hopefully, you know, and then they'll not only teach me, but they'll teach me like the bus system and everything, how to get to places on my own. So I have done that, and I have been independent in the public, but that was because of an issue that, you know, I was having an issue with one of my roommates when I was living on Peter Street in Aurelia, you know. He couldn't speak, no fault of his own, of course, but he used to yell because he couldn't talk. So I guess when you can't speak, your only form of communication is yelling, you know, because you're trying to be heard, right? So, and that's why they developed iPads and tablets, but that's for another time. I'll get into that another time. Anyways, yeah, so that's what's happening. That's what the 10q is. That's what my chromosome deletion is. It's just extremely rare. And I was born with that. And I think the autism came because of that. Because on the Google, they didn't know enough about it to say that it does cause intellectual disabilities. Right? But with the chromosome 10q deletion, like on my age, like on my life, for example, versus somebody who just has autism or severe autism, maybe autism and depression or bipolar, I'm not able to function like that. I've met lots of people with autism. Like, you'll see somebody like Carly Feshman, right? She just has severe autism and really low motor skills. So she types on a computer like that, right? Right? As much as she is slow and you're constantly waiting there and be like, hurry up, it's like, sometimes, you type like this and then you end up hitting the wrong letters and then end up sending a text to somebody and you're like, what the heck are you saying? Like, I send texts to my grandparents all the time and she's like, I can't even understand a word you just said. Because it's like every other word is like some random word, So I wish I was get Carly and he would go, do, but my brain, it just wants, if it wants to type something, it controls my fingers and it's like, hurry up, my fingers want to type what my brain is thinking out in the moment, and so it just types so fast. Similar to like now when I'm talking, my brain, my fingers type as fast as I'm talking and I end up hitting the wrong keys. So, yeah. But yeah, I have seen some pretty amazing autistic people that are probably just learning to communicate with an iPad. And, yes, I do go into rages and that. I did when I was like very little growing up until I got on bupropion, which is anti-psychotic medication that decreases anxiety, right? And 2 weeks ago, I was at a Walmart with my mom. Okay, let's just start with 10 years ago, or something like that. Maybe 9 or 10 years ago. I was at the Walmart with my grandmother in the McDonald's having lunch. And this kid hit his head. And he started to really cry, right? I got so berserk. I got so pissed that at first I said that I was gonna smack him, and then well, I didn't even give her any warning. I just got so mad that I just flung myself out of my seat, took my burger, and then gone. I was out of there, I was out of there in that shot. I wasn't sticking around to have the police called on me, right? Because for one thing, I'm not going to jail for other people having to set off my behavior, right? I am not going to jail for something I can't control, right? And so it was a long time coming, but my psychiatrist in Barrie put me on bupropion, and then it seemed to help, seemed to decrease a lot of those negative emotions, because every little thing would set me off. Like if a person said no to me, or they said I can't have anything, I would be pissed off. I would be so ticked off, you know? And that continued on even into my 20s. So, now it's not that bad, you know? Now I can at least enjoy an outing, and hearing a kid crying or screaming for 20 minutes and not react that way, right? I can think logically now, because here's the thing, 2 weeks ago, right, going on about 2 weeks ago, like I was going to start with, but then I just decided to start with, you know, what happened before at the Walmart, when how I react the last time I reacted to a child crying at the Walmart, which was years and years and years ago, right? I couldn't even go into a restaurant, like when I was little, growing up into early 20s or into my late 20s. I couldn't even go into a flipping restaurant, you know, with children, because I would just say, oh, children are there. And then I get anxiety because I knew that, you know, eventually one of them will start to cry. And then I wouldn't be able to contain myself. Well, 2 weeks ago, we were at the Walmart, me and my mom, because we went to a wedding last Saturday, right? So me and my mom, 2 weeks ago, went into Walmart. There was this kid that was screaming at the top of his lungs. Like, I'm not talking about like scream, pause, scream, pause, scream, pause, scream. Like, it was flow bone for 20 freaking minutes, right? My mom was just like, boy, I'm glad I don't have a kid like that. And I just started to laugh. I'm like, Mom, you did. For like almost 29 freaking years. I'm like, Mom, you did. Right? I just literally just stopped that just a few years ago because I took an anxiety pill. But other than that, that only stopped a few years ago. It didn't stop for very long. So I just started to laugh at her at the moment. Well, the kid was still screaming. Everybody else was like, what the hell? And here I am just laughing my head off. And just like, dude, really? Really? So, yeah, it's just weird in a way, because I guess that's the person who I am on the inside when my anxiety is not. When I'm able to think logically, I just want to be that person that, I guess I am that kind of person that would more think positive and like to joke about certain things and, you know, like Ellen DeGeneres, make fun of the worst case of scenario versus like, okay, I'm out of here, I quit. And then it's like, really? And meanwhile, all these people are doing that. And it's like, seriously? You haven't had kids before? Right? And I know that's coming from me because I don't like kids, but I'm going to tell you, for just under maybe like 26, maybe 28 years, you know? No, maybe more like 27 years, you know? I was the biggest baby and the most biggest jerk ever, you know? Because I would be an adult and I would just be screaming at people, you know, at my family if I didn't get what I want. You can't be telling the kid to do that, because blaming it on all the kid, because I don't think the kid will be doing that at 26 years old. But I did. So there. You know? People probably looked at me like I was the immature bitch. Right? Versus a kid who's doing that. If I were to be the one screaming and so was a kid, well, people might look at me like I should know better. I mean, while they're saying that this kid should be taken away from the store, and it's like, come on, dude. Come on. Really? Because no doubt, we all screamed here and there. But nothing compared to me. But nobody compares to me. Come on. Like, I was 26 years old and I still curse and swear if I didn't get what I wanted. I still do, even to this day, but it's not as bad. Like, as it used to be. Like, you know. Somebody was able to just give me a reason why. Sometimes I would say, yeah, that's true. Just forget about it. You know? I'm able to think more logically than I was, like, at 26, 27 years old. And under. Yeah, right? So, yep. But that's what that chromosome 10q deletion did to me. Is that it made my emotions intense. So, like, I wasn't able to think logically. I wasn't able to joke about and laugh about worst case situations when I wanted to, you know? My brain just got overwhelmed. And this wasn't just negativity, it was excitement too, right? If I really wanted to talk, and I would go million miles an hour, right? And I just won't shut up, you know? And sometimes they're like, Lee, be quiet. So, yeah, like I am doing now, but, but now going out and hearing stuff that I really didn't like before, it's not near as bad now. That I'm able to think logically about it. Like, as much as, yeah, I comment on people that, raw people in that, on YouTube and saying that yeah, I want to blow them all with the Timbuktu. Yeah, I wish I could, you know? But if I was in that situation in person, probably be a lot different because I didn't know that I was gonna not want to beat that kid up, you know? That I was not gonna go in front of the store and barge up there and then knock his teeth out, you know? You know? I didn't know that was gonna happen. And I was shocked myself, but once I didn't feel that emotion, I feel so much better inside. I feel so much better about myself. So yeah, so most people will be asking, well, if you can't control it, I know one person may be asked, well, if you can't control it, how are you able to take responsibility to get the medication that you need? Well, here's the thing, right? If you know, even if you can't control it, if you know you have impulses, and if you know that you have anger issues that you can't control because of your chromosome deletion or your whatever, your disability, you know, or your special needs, you know, as they call it, that doesn't mean that, I mean, like, we can't just say, okay, I'm going to try to change it and then change it, because some people need medication to do that. Like, most people are able to just say, okay, yep, I will try to change that behavior. And then they just try really hard. And then the brains are able to switch around. Eventually. It takes like 3 weeks to break that habit, but it eventually does. But for some people's brain, it doesn't work like that. It needs medication, but just because you can't control it, that doesn't mean you can't take responsibility and not call your doctor and say, hey, look, I'm going through this and this and this. Call them up and say, hey, doctor, need help. You know. Even a counselor is good, So, we are in control of our own actions, even if we can't control it, right? We still can choose to crack somebody upside the head or crack somebody's teeth out, or we could choose to maybe speak out and ask for help to work on how to control it, right? And it usually does work when you use your voice instead of physical violence. And yeah, you can still take responsibility even if you're not responsible, per se, about what you choose to do with yourself, even though you're not criminally responsible, right? Like, I never planned on beating a kid up. It just happened in the moment, right? It just happened. I just feel that way in the moment, Like, some people, they don't plan to attack. It just happens in the moment, like something sets them off. And then, like a child crying or like a loud noise sets them off. And then, they can go on the attack in the moment, but it's not like they go out every day thinking, well, who can I punch out today? Who can I beat the crap out of today? I never woke up thinking that. Never, ever, ever. Alright? I never woke up thinking that, well, you know what? I'm so mad, I'm just gonna go out and shoot a bunch of kids. I'm not doing that. I never thought about that when I woke up in the morning. Never even in the daytime. Whether it's breakfast, supper, dinner, or anywhere. I never thought about harming anybody. Everything it does is just in the heat of the moment. But that doesn't mean that it's okay to do that. Right? It doesn't mean that I won't go to jail for that. Or get in some trouble. Maybe I won't go to jail, but I'll be put in a mental institution and it'll be like jail. Because you're still behind bars. You're still not allowed to walk outside the front door every day like you would in your house, right? Well, and sometimes, they put you under house arrest with an ankle monitor, right? So if you know what you're doing, and you know you have these problems, but you can't control it, there's always a way you can go about it without hurting the person or hurting other people. There's always going to be medication or counseling out there that can help you with that, right? Because a lot of people don't know how to control it because maybe they have tried, but they just can't. There's always a way around it. There's always a way around it, There's always a solution, right? It might not be a fix-all. Medication isn't a fix-all. But it just allows you to it just decreases that emotions, so then you're able to walk away from the situation before you get to that point. Like, so you know what I mean? It just allows you to think more clearly about your actions and that, right? Because most people, I'm pretty sure, don't go out every day and want to attack some people. Sometimes I think it just happens. And, you know, and you don't know who has that problem. You can have a neighbor that is walking along the streets. I mean, like, me and my mom and her dogs went to the trails this morning, and we saw lots of people. And lots of people could have been, you know, for whatever reason, the past history's abusive relationships, maybe, cause all that. So, yeah. But you don't know that because they look like regular people, everyday people, right? But you don't know what their situation is. You don't know, you know, if they're on a medication or something to decrease anxiety, or, you know. Right? You don't know if something sets them off and they might end up yelling out in the middle of nowhere, yelling threats and that, you know. It's like, some people yell death threats, but that doesn't mean they're gonna kill us all. Right? But you just don't know, right? So it's good to call the police and let the police handle it. Maybe get that person, maybe request that person some counseling and some help, you know? Because even if you can't, like I said, even if somebody can't control their negative emotions, and their moods are never like happy or sad, their moods change in the day like mine did. Like mine does. Mine still does, but it's not as bad. So yeah. See how much time? Okay, 33. Okay, so on that last note, like I said at the very beginning, chromosome 10q, which is what I have, is a very, very, very rare disorder, chromosome disorder, and I believe it's like a form of hockey stick, but this part of the blade is missing. That's a chromosome 10q. Apparently it's very, very, very rare. You can Google it, but you won't find much on it. I can guarantee you that, because I've Googled it before, and, you know, hardly anything. All the websites just say the same thing. And, you know, many with different websites give you different information. Well, they don't know enough about it, so every one of the websites just say the same things about it, you know? That's how little they know about it. And, you know, anyways, yep. That's what chromosome 10q does for me, and everybody else is different, but what sets them off may be different, but you may know that you can't control it, you know? You may not be criminally responsible, but you know what you're doing is wrong, but you can't control it. But I'm saying that there's other ways around the issue you can solve the issue by going asking, like whenever I have a problem, I ask my dad if he can contact my psychiatrist. If I feel like I'm not well in my mind because of my medication, I ask my dad if he can contact my psychiatrist to see. So yeah, and if I can do it, you can do it too. You know, if I can do that, most certainly you can do that. You know, that's just what I'm saying. You know, it's just a matter of choice. You know, people choose what they want to do. I mean, like, even though they can't control their feelings, they can choose not to attend that. Like, if when I went out for lunches, I went out, got my stuff, and then took it out. I didn't stay inside. I didn't stick around inside for very long. Right? And so I just went inside, picked it up, or grabbed it, told them what I wanted, and then walked out of the door. I didn't stay inside because I knew that if something happened, I was going to freak out, and I didn't want people to look at me like thinking I'm a horrible person, and that kind of scared me more. So once I did that on one time, and people looked at me, I didn't think that was a good feeling. I felt more horrible inside about myself than I did with the kid that was crying. Like, I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed of myself, you know? But because I couldn't control it, I just needed medication to help with it. But my medication's not going to fix it, but it just allows me to think more clearly of the way I should handle things within that. If I choose to stick around, that's my fault. But I don't think I ever will. I might stick around for a little bit, but if I get too frustrated, I will move. I will at least be able enough to move to say, hey dad, or hey mom, can I go and wait outside for a bit? Go and wait outside until you're done here. It's like, okay, sure, you know? Because, right, which before, I would be screaming along with the kid. Be screaming, shut up, you know? Shut up, right? Which now other people are doing that, and it's like, I just laugh at them, you know? So yeah. Yeah. But that's me thinking logically. That's who I am. I'm a jokester like that, you know? That is really who I am, you know? I love to make a joke about worst case scenarios and that, you know? So yeah, it's really kind of weird, but my life is weird. My life is just weirdness, you know? So as you can see, I am weird, but hey, everybody is a little bit weird. Just some people are a bit weirder than others, I guess. And no fault of their own, but, you know, just because they have issues they can't control, doesn't mean they're not good people. They just need to realize that there's other ways to solve an issue without hurting people or attacking people, right? So yeah, just take my advice and it, you know, because like I said, if I can do it, you can do it, you know. And I am speaking truthfully. If I can do it, you can do it, you know. Doesn't matter how severe autistic you are. Doesn't matter how severely autistic you are, or doesn't matter how severely disabled you are, you know. Majority of people with special needs, right, know what's right and wrong. They just can't control their emotions very good. They can't get to control of their brain, right, sometimes. So it's our job to have a little talk with them and get them to realize that, oh yeah, I guess you're right, you know. And then they'll realize, and then they'll feel ashamed of themselves, and then they probably will admit that they should be on a medication or something that can decrease their anxiety level, you know.